Hello, this is Lindsay. Welcome back to my channel. So today I have something that I've been working on that I want to share with you. I'm excited and hopefully you'll see many more of these in my shop. You can click the link below as always if you're interested in purchasing them. But I decided to make my own homemade magazines for my shop. So these, there's no, it's just whenever I get them listed, I hope to do quite a few of them because they are so much fun to put together. But they're called the Junk Journaler's Companion by Nevermore Creations. I put the date on there when they were created, so whenever I make more, I'll put the date. And then if I do more than one in a day, it'll have edition 2, edition 3, or whatever for that date. So I did 2 of them for this day, and they are comb bound, and I'm hoping to buy some bigger combs so that I can actually fit more in here. But this is pretty much a magazine size. I haven't counted the pages, but I'm going to flip through. Pretty much it's a whole bunch of things that you can rip out, cut up. You pretty much keep these on a shelf or on a stack near where you work. It's kind of like a magazine / paper pad. All of these things you can use in your journals to sell. They're all you can use any of them to sell. You don't have to worry about what's in it, if you can use it or not for reselling a journal. If you have a question, make sure you look it up yourself. I've done the work to look it up, and I'm confident that everything in here is safe. But as always, putting a disclaimer, I can make mistakes, so you do need to double check if you're concerned at all. So there's a green one and a purple one, and even the covers can be used. Everything can be used in these. So let's get into them. So here's a thick, heavyweight not double-sided, but this really pretty green here and here. There's some stitching, and you can, when you cut that, you can use the stitching as well in a journal, which is great, especially if you don't have a sewing machine. So I'm so excited. All right. So here is a piece of like a vintage, I think it's like a tablecloth or something like that. It was a fabric that was like sewn into a tablecloth, and I got it at a thrift store. It's stitched up here at the end, so you can cut off, whatever pieces. It would also be an adorable cover for a mini journal. So you get that piece there. And then you get 2 bird book pages. Look at these images and all sorts of things about birds. You can rip them out or just cut little pieces out. Here you get a piece of coffee dyed paper that I coffee dyed, so you can use that. And then clipped on it are a whole bunch of large journaling cards. So you can use the paper clips in your journals. These are all green, and you can use those. So here's your coffee dyed paper, gorgeous. Here's a piece of vintage lace that's stitched up here, so you can cut pieces off of that. And a really pretty scrapbook paper. Here's a whole, these are like from a receipt book, and you get the negative or whatever these are called, carbon copy as well. This is from a dictionary, and I like how the letters are, some of the words are in blue, and there's a little picture of a pussy willow down here. This is from a gardening book. Here's a piece of graph paper. This says Home Sweet Home. It's a really pretty scrapbook piece of paper. This is a graphic 45 12 by 12 cut down to fit in here, World's Fair, and it's double-sided, so you can use either side. Here's a vintage book page from the 1950s, and it's from a children's encyclopedia, and this is poetry. So this is the poem She Walks in Beauty. And then these are some vintage game cards from like a National Geographic game, and so you get 5 of those and 3 red clips. And then here's a poem on the back, a song about myself. Some pretty pink paper, and then wrapped around here a couple times, I think like twice, is this pink lace, and then there's a little puffy red heart clipped up there. There's 2 pink paper clips, so you can take that lace off to use. Here's a journal page from Tsunami Rose, and this is from one of her vintage kittens, I think it's called. I added a Tim Holtz sticker that says amazing. I stitched all around and inked the edges. So this is really pretty collage. So you can either cut these out to decoupage, or you could use the page, rip it out, and put it in one of your journals if you'd like. Here's another piece of scrapbook paper, and then sewn on to the top here are 3 book pages from a gardening book or a flower book. So you can use those images and all of that. This is a little printout or part of a printout from Digital Collage Club. I've been using her stuff a lot this month, and these are some steampunk mason jars. So you can cut these out and use them for decoupage or put them on tags or whatever. There's 4 of them. Here's a book page, and I believe this is Japanese, so this would be beautiful for decoupage. Here's a vintage hymn page. I believe it's from the 70s. Really pretty fleur-de-lis scrapbook paper, and then sewn on here are scraps, and I love how they just kind of overlap. They look really neat, and then you can just clip off, you know, what you need to make tags or whatever. So you have, I'll just show you the 4, and this I left the strip here at the top. There's some polka dots and that, so you get those 4. Here's a book page from Mary Had a Little Lamb. Here's a couple little like note pages. This is from the Graphics Fairy, and this is a plug for her members only site. I'm not sponsored. I'm just saying I love her members only site. And so I left the web address so you could go there. This is part of a collage sheet with shells. I took a distress marker and vintage photo and went around the edges, so when you cut them out, they already are inked and they're ready for ephemeral collages and tags and things like that. This is a coloring book page, like an adult coloring book page. So you have some flowers and a butterfly, and on this side a fish and some shells. These are the journaling cards from my new digital kit, In My Dreams, and so these are 6 of them. And you can cut them out and use them. And then sewn on here is a piece of music note vellum. And then here is a library card from Digital Collage Club. It's printed on cardstock, so it's ready to cut out and go in whatever journal you'd like. And clipped on the back are a whole bunch of just really cute little snippets of fabric to use for collaging. Here's a music page from Hannon's Exercises, and that's a full music page. And then in the back, you get another piece of the same fabric that was in the front. So you can line a mini journal or do whatever you want. I love this pink rose right here in the middle, and then you have this whole green sheet in the back. So that's this one. Every single one I do will be different. There will not be 2 alike. It doesn't mean there won't be some of the same snippets here and there, but everyone will be totally set up differently, mostly different pages. So that's that one. Here's the purple one. Let's go through this one. So we have a purple page, same idea. And I love how the thread ran out and you still get the holes here. I love how that just kind of looks vintage there. So this is edition 2. It's purple. It's from the same paper pad as the green, except it's purple. All right. So here's, you get a snippet of, or quite a big piece of fabric here in the front, beautiful cotton. And I believe I've covered a journal in this before, but this would fit, cover a mini journal or, you know, make pockets or whatever. This is from a one of the Dover books that has like art, this art in a web, however you pronounce it, whatever. It's like almost like a wallpaper type. It doesn't feel like wallpaper, but it's just like a soft semi-gloss. It feels really rich and luxurious. It's taken right out of the book. And then on here's a whole bunch of paper scraps again. So you have this one, this one's textured, embossed, and then a wood piece. This one you get a bag, and you can also just take the comb. If you don't want to rip it out, you can just take the comb out and pull the pages out, but you can rip it out here, and then inside you get a piece of burlap paper and a vintage postcard. This is a vintage Holiday Inn postcard from Canada. And I believe Jenny gave me a bunch of these, and so I'm sharing. So that goes in there. Here's a second. So here's a vintage typewriting page. And this is a vintage from a children's book. This is Poetry in Childhood, and there's some little pieces of poetry. And the paper is nicely naturally aged. These are the journaling cards from my Ode to Nature kit. And so you can print, you know, back these with coffee dye paper or whatever you'd like. So you get 6 of those. This is from a vintage 1960s sewing book. Here's the K & Company paper, and I included this because it's double-sided, and I just thought it was gorgeous for a nature journal. Here's a little mason jar from Seneca Pond Crafts, and I've done a tutorial on how I use these before, but I just added a little bit of an embellishment cluster here on the bottom. This is from a book about the Lewis and Clark expeditions, and here's a cornflower. This is a vintage like poetry book. The paper is beautifully aged. This is from a book on dolls and doll accessories. Here's a little bird postcard and a little beautiful scrapbook paper. This is wallpaper sample. Here's a little 6x6. And then here's a little cut off of a paper. This has shells. And then clipped on here are some 4 different ribbons and laces here for use. And then here's some pretty polka dot paper. These are printed off. They're really pretty. I can't even remember the artist's name, but I used these in a project before and I had some left, so I included them. These are printed on 110-pound ivory cardstock. This is vintage seam binding, and then I machine stitched a whole bunch of hearts down it. So this is really pretty to use as a tie in your journals or something like that, in a gold little binder clip. And then here's washi taped on some scrapbook papers. This is from Junk That Treasures, and it's a weekly time record, so that's fun to use. This is a cardstock, an 8x8 cardstock that I did some Glimmer Mist stenciling on. And then clipped on here are some coffee dyed cutouts you can either use to make paper ribbons, you can use to make tags, whatever you want there. Here's Eiffel Tower scrapbook paper. And then in the back you get another piece of this fabric for your use. So, phew! I went a little overboard today. I also was working on a custom order that I'm almost done with. So I've been a little bit on the busy side, but I've loved every second of it. I can't wait to make more of these for my shop. I hope you enjoy them very much. Thank you for watching this video.